My best friend introduced me to my worst mistake. Her name was Claire, and we'd known each other since we were 11. We grew up on the same quiet street in a mid-sized coastal town, rode bikes to the beach every summer, and later shared an apartment through most of our 20s. Claire was the kind of friend who remembered your parents' birthdays and showed up with soup when you were sick. When she met someone she thought was worth knowing, she didn't hesitate to bring them into our circle. That's how I met Ryan. It was early 2019. Claire had just started seeing a guy named Matt, and one Friday evening she invited me to join them for drinks at a small wine bar downtown. "Matt's friend Ryan is coming too," she texted. "He's really great, funny, kind, works in environmental policy. I think you'll like him." Claire had never tried to set me up before, so the fact that she was doing it now felt meaningful. I trusted her instincts completely. Ryan arrived a little late, apologizing with an easy smile. He was tall, with dark curly hair and a calm way of listening that made you feel like the only person in the room. We talked about books, travel, the non-profit work I was doing at the time. Claire kept catching my eye across the table, giving subtle nods of approval. By the end of the night, Ryan asked for my number, and Claire squeezed my hand as we left, whispering, "Told you." The beginning was gentle and unhurried. Coffee dates turned into long walks along the waterfront. He remembered that I loved jasmine tea and hated olives. When I had a stressful week, he showed up with takeout from my favorite Thai place and didn't expect anything in return. Claire was thrilled. "He's solid," she kept saying. "Not like the others." I believed her. 6 months in, we decided to move in together. It felt natural. Our leases were ending around the same time, and we were spending most nights together anyway. Claire helped us find a sunny 2-bedroom apartment a few blocks from the ocean. She even threw us a little housewarming party, complete with homemade cupcakes and a playlist she knew I loved. Looking around that night, with Claire laughing in the kitchen and Ryan's arm around my shoulders, I remember thinking this was what stability felt like. The first signs were small and easy to explain away. Ryan started working later hours, grant deadlines, he said. Some evenings he'd come home quiet, scrolling on his phone longer than usual. I noticed he'd changed his passcode, but when I asked, he laughed and said his niece had been playing with his phone over the holidays and accidentally locked him out of an app. "Better safe than sorry." He shrugged. I didn't push. Money became the next quiet concern. We'd agreed to split rent and utilities evenly, but twice I had to cover his half because his paycheck was delayed. He always paid me back eventually, with apologies and extra affection. Claire, when I mentioned it casually, waved it off. Policy jobs are feast or famine with funding cycles. He'll sort it out. I wanted to believe her. The real shift came gradually over the next year. Ryan's mood swings grew more pronounced, periods of warmth followed by days of withdrawal. He'd snap at small things. The way I loaded the dishwasher, a question about his day. Then he'd apologize profusely, bring me flowers, and everything would feel normal again. I started walking on eggshells, adjusting my tone, my timing, my expectations. I told myself relationships take work, that every couple has rough patches. Claire saw less of us during this time. She'd gotten engaged to Matt and was busy planning their wedding. When we did catch up, I kept things light. I didn't want to burden her, and part of me didn't want to admit that the person she'd so enthusiastically introduced might not be who we thought. The truth surfaced in pieces. First, I found an overdue notice from a credit card company addressed to him, tucked in a drawer I rarely opened. The balance was shocking. Nearly $30,000. When I asked, he admitted he'd been carrying debt from before we met but insisted he was handling it. "I didn't want to worry you," he said, eyes downcast. I felt a mix of sympathy and unease. Then came the night I woke up at 3 a.m. and found him gone from bed. He was in the living room, laptop glowing, face tense. When I approached, he closed it quickly. "Work email," he muttered. But the screen had shown rows of numbers, spreadsheets that didn't look like policy work. Over the next weeks, I pieced together what I could. Hidden accounts, loans taken out in his name, payments missed. He'd been day trading stocks. convinced he could make quick money to clear his debts. Instead, he dug the hole deeper. The final revelation came quietly, almost anticlimactically. One afternoon while he was at work, I opened the mail and found a letter from a collections agency. It listed debts I'd never known about, including one co-signed by his mother. When he came home, I laid everything on the table, not in anger but in exhaustion. He didn't deny it. He sat across from me and told me the full scope. Years of financial secrets, lies to family and friends, choices made out of panic and pride. He'd never intended to hurt me, he said, but he'd let the mess grow until it touched everything, including us. We ended things calmly. No shouting, no dramatic scenes. He moved out within a month, taking half the furniture and all of his debt. Claire came over the day he left, sat with me on the floor of the half-empty apartment, and listened as I told her everything. She cried, not defensive, just sad. "I never saw it," she whispered. "I thought he was safe." I hugged her and told her it wasn't her fault. She'd introduced us with the best intentions. The responsibility for what followed was ours. Recovery took time. I refinanced what little joint debt remained, sold things I didn't need, learned to budget in ways I never had before. Therapy helped me understand why I'd ignored the signs, how much I'd invested in the idea of a relationship endorsed by someone I loved. I'd mistaken Claire's trust for a guarantee. Claire and I are still close, though we're more careful now. We don't present people to each other with the same unqualified enthusiasm. We've both learned that good intentions aren't proof against hidden struggles. Ryan and I haven't spoken in years. I heard through mutual friends that he's getting help, working a steady job, slowly paying things back. I hope that's true. I don't hate him. I pity the version of him that felt he had to hide so much. These days, I live alone in a smaller apartment with more light. I've planted new succulents on the windowsill and adopted a quiet gray cat who likes to sit on my lap while I read. Life is simpler, and I'm careful with my trust. Not cynical, just deliberate. The lessons settled in gently. Even the people we love most can be wrong about someone. An introduction is just a door opening, not a promise of what's inside. I trusted Claire's judgment, and it led me to pain, but it also led me here, to a quieter, more honest life. I'm grateful for both.